Hi, I'm Allie with PotomacBeads, and today's tutorial we're going to work with our 2-hold RounDuo mini bead, learning how to do a 2-hold version of the tubular peyote stitch. In this, you're going to learn that 2-hold peyote in the round in the tube, as well as we're going to play around with colors doing some color block. If you need any materials, you can go to the beginning where we listed out the very simple materials that you'll be needing to do this roll-on bangle. To begin with the RounDuo mini peyote in the tubular section, I want you to add a stop bead onto about 5 feet of beading thread. The stop bead is eventually going to come off the project, so it's a good idea to use a stop bead that isn't similar to anything in the project. You want to start out with about 5 feet of thread. I have a smaller piece just so it stays in frame. To begin, go ahead and add a 15-0 seed bead along with a RounDuo mini in a set of 4. So you're going to end up with 4 15s and 4 RounDuo minis. We're going to round that out, adding a 15-0 seed bead and the RounDuo mini. And I'm going back through those to create that nice little rounded section. That rounded section then is going to become the diameter for the peyote stitch. Each time now with the RounDuo, I'm going to be adding 2 RounDuos at a time as I increase my peyote stitch. To add more RounDuo minis, or any really 2-hold bead, we're going to do what's called a step up. I'm going from the first hole of the RounDuo mini to the second hole of that same RounDuo mini. It's going to put a little bit of thread on the exterior and the other side, but you really won't see it as we continue the stitch. To continue now, I'm going to add a 15, skip over the next RounDuo mini in line, add another RounDuo and another 15 onto the needle. So you have a 15, RounDuo 15. And you're going to skip over again the next one and go through the one sitting directly across through the second hole of that RounDuo mini. It's going to force that RounDuo mini that we skipped to kind of sit below. Coming out of then that third RounDuo mini, add a 15 RounDuo mini and then another 15-0 seed bead. And as we do that, then we're going to go back through that first RounDuo mini that we were coming out of, pulling the thread. That's going to get us our next row of our peyote stitch. So what's going to appear now is that you actually have almost 3 stitches of the RounDuo mini. It's almost like a little beaded bead. And what we're going to do is step up on this. So we added 2 RounDuo minis with 15s on each side. We went back through that first RounDuo mini, and we're going to go through the first 15 and the first RounDuo mini that we added along that new row. Reverse the thread from the first hole to the second hole, and we're going to get ready to do our next row of our peyote stitch. Add 1 15, 1 RounDuo mini, 1 15. You're going to go through the second hole of the RounDuo mini that's sticking up. When you come out there, do the rotation again of the 15, mini, 15, and we're going to go through the second hole of the RounDuo mini on the other side. This is also the same RounDuo mini that we did our step up on. Give a nice tight pull. From here to step up to get our next 2 RounDuo minis on, go through the 15 and the first hole of the RounDuo mini that we just put on first in this row. We're going to step up from the first hole to the second hole in that RounDuo mini, and then we're doing the collection of 15 RounDuo mini, 15, and again around in the circle, adding on this new set of beads between the empty holes of our RounDuo mini. Again, you're going to go back through that bead there, and then to step up back through the first 15 and the first RounDuo mini we just added in this row. Step up then from the bottom hole to the top hole and continue along. And you can see it's creating this nice X fashion. And the tighter you pull the thread, the less you'll see a little bit of that. But with the tubular peyote, you will always see a little bit of thread appearing. You're going to continue adding the 2 RounDuo minis per row of the peyote bead the whole way along your bracelet. I'm going to establish half of the bracelet with this color range, and then I'm going to be switching to the opposite here to kind of make a fun little color block bracelet. So I have my first RounDuo minis in my Lila Vega Luster and my gold seed bead, and then I'm going to switch to my gold RounDuo mini and my opaque dark orchid luster of my 15 O's to change that color version. Once you have about half of your bracelet established and finished going along with that RounDuo minis, it's time to switch colors. So I'm going to now switch from my 15s, from them being gold to them being purple, and my RounDuos from being purple to gold. And this is just a fun way to do the color block. And as I add then and continue, I'm going to go in here and just continue all the way around to get this nice little color block. Again, as I go through that RounDuo mini in the purple, I'm also going to go through the 15-0 in the purple and the first gold in the purple as well. From here, I'm going to step up through the second hole of that first gold bead that I added, and then onto just the series of my gold beads, going around and adding in 2 at a time with my purple 15s on either side to finish out that peyote. Every time I add 2, I go in and still do that step up where I'm adding in my 15-0, or I'm sewing rather, sorry, through the 15-0, through the first RounDuo mini that I added on the last row, and then backwards through it the opposite direction. And you can see now I have 2 of my RounDuo mini rows of my peyote stitch. So I'm going to continue adding in my gold till I finish off my bangle and get ready to connect it along the end here. Once you have your length established, and I ended up using approximately 100 of my RounDuo mini beads, and I didn't want it to do exactly in the middle, so I kept going with the purple and then just a section of the gold. It would look really cool if you took the remainder beads then and kind of did another one that you can stack and wear together as bangles. What we're going to do is go back to the beginning and attach this as we do it as a bangle to the opposite side. What I want to do is try to make sure that I'm not turning the actual tube anywhere and that I'm actually attaching to the correct section. Right now you can see when I have it not turned, I basically have 2 male ends that aren't fitting together. I'm going to add 1 more rotation, or you can take off 1 rotation at the stop. It's kind of up to you. And I'm going to add 1 more go round of my gold beads, adding in my 15 and my gold, and then I'll be ready to go ahead and attach my 2 ends together. If you have a slight twist in the middle of your tube with a bigger bead like this, you really won't notice that much. So if you do have a slight turn, don't worry about it. Once I know that I have the peyote here and I'm getting ready to step up into my other design, here's where I'm going to go ahead now and add it to the other side. To add to the other side, those 2 are going to fit in there nicely together. And what I'm going to do is basically continue on the peyote stitch without actually adding any beads other than 15-0s. So I'm going to add a 15-0, and then I'm going to come over to the original side of that RounDuo mini tubular bracelet and go through the open hole of the RounDuo mini. Because remember, we started out with 4 beads and then we only actually picked up 2. So that left us with 2 open holes as we're working with it. Coming out of the RounDuo mini then, go ahead and add another 15, and we are going to sew through our next open RounDuo mini in our gold bead. That's going to connect it right there. And now we just want to connect it to the other side here as well. So to connect to the other side, add another gold bead, go into your purple and sew through there, add another gold and sew through the gold RounDuo. So basically you're just seaming literally the 2 together. I'm going to seam them together kind of 1 more time, going around and reinforcing, and then I'll go back. So I'm just going to redo my thread here, since this is where they get added. And then I'm going to go back and actually tie on to the starter thread that's already there. I'll take off the stop bead, or you can leave it on if you can tie through well enough. And what I'm going to do here then is go up a bead, come back through the purple bead near it, making sure I don't have any extra thread showing, and take my thread and needle back to the section so that way my starter thread and my ending thread are coming out right at the same point but through opposite directions. The ones coming out of the purple bead and the ones coming out of the gold bead. So one thread is going kind of towards the right and one is going towards the left. When I tie these, it'll pull it a little tighter and then you'll have your seamless line. For this, if you want to, you notice I kept the needle on one side and took the stop bead off the other. I'm going to do a nice tight knot, doing a square knot right over left, left over right. And then to separate out the threads, I'll take the one that still has the needle on, which was coming out of the purple bead, and I'll take that thread and separate it, going back through the gold and back through the purple. That way both of my thread ends are not being burnt off in the same location. That also sometimes will pull that knot back into one of those beads and you won't see it as much. Once those thread ends get separated, I'll take my thread burner and burn them off, leaving a little bit of an end, so that way I can then take my thread zap to make almost a stop and take it, go straight down on that thread end and burn it flush against the project. If you have anywhere else where you needed to add thread, you can go back then afterwards as well and go ahead, find those points. I know I had one here back in my purple where I had to add, you can see it right there. And I'm gonna go in and burn off the thread ends there as well. And then my roll on RounDuo mini bangle will be completed.